Hey guys, you know the background. That means it's Q&A time. We have Joe here, and we're gonna talk all about bringing your new fishy friend home and acclimating. Nailed that, right? Dude, I'm a wordsmith. I'm an orator of ponds. So let's say you have a little bit of room for some extra fish, or for that matter, this is maybe the first time you're introducing fish into that pond. We did some other videos recently about getting submersible pumps out and making them external. Let's say you're that guy, and now you want to put a fish or two in your pond.
Yeah.
And it's all about really making sure you know how to acclimate that fish, because it can really, really shock them. I mean, how do you usually get your fish when you're on your way home? They're in a plastic bag, right?
Yeah.
Just like you're coming back from the fair.
Yeah, and the outside membrane of the fish is so thin that the temperature of the water they're in is the temperature of their body.
Right.
So if it's a drastic change, it's going to shock them quite a bit, and they may not survive that change. So
Yeah,
you want to slowly
they're not built
them-
like us,
So
right?
you want to slowly acclimate them to the new water temperature.
Absolutely, yeah. They're not built like us. Like you have warm-blooded, cold-blooded. It's that kind of situation is what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
And 10 degrees is a lot. We deal with 10 degrees. If you're sitting in a room and it immediately becomes 10 degrees hotter, you start sweating, more or less, regardless of exactly what that temperature change was. So, like, imagine not having that.
Yeah.
And they're already sitting in their own little world inside this plastic bag, and that is everything to them. So one way that you can kind of solve that is by using the fact that water temperature changes at a pretty consistent rate.
Yeah.
So you can put that bag into the existing pond, and what that's going to do is it's going to change the temperature because there's less water in the bag. It's going to change the water temperature inside of their little world, their little water balloon world bubble.
Yeah. So you'll do that. You let it float for about 15 minutes. One big thing is where it's floating in the pond. If the sun's out, that bag is going to act like a greenhouse.
Oh yeah.
And that water inside is going to heat very, very fast. So if you have an area of the pond that's shaded, hold that bag in that area. You have to physically hold it, but you can tie it off.
Yeah.
Or if it's in full sun, take a towel and just gently cover that bag during that 15-minute duration. I've seen on many occasions where people float bags for 15 minutes, and it's not.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that. That's a whole different YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So one thing I would just like to point out is, you're getting this fish.
Yeah.
If you find yourself with some random fish coming into your pond and you don't have it and you're scrambling, don't do that.
Yeah.
All you really have to do is make sure that the bag can float for 15 to 30 minutes and that the sun is not going to penetrate through the plastic seal and cook the fish.
Yeah.
You could set up a nice little shaded area. You could just move the umbrella from your porch over there and do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Also, you probably have shaded areas, so you could go get and acquire your fish if you're picking it up from a local source at a point in time where the sun is at an angle and you have that shade. Just think through it.
Yeah.
Think through it. Now, if you're cleaning your pond and we're dealing with holding tanks, how does that kind of change the game?
Good question. Because obviously you probably don't have plastic bags in an oxygen tank.
No, it'd be very odd if you did.
Yeah. So the solution is take that tank, take your pump, and you're going to drain it halfway. And then you're going to take your garden hose, the same hose that you filled the pond up as you're cleaning it, and then you're going to fill that tank up. Add a conditioner, let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then do that again. Drain it halfway, fill it back up. That'll fully acclimate that tank basically to the same temperature that you just filled the pond with. And then you can gently pick up the fish and introduce them to the pond.
And one thing that he was mentioning there is you're using the same hose, the same water source. So obviously one thing you have is consistent temperature for what's being introduced to the ecosystem, to the environment that your fish are living in.
Yeah.
And it's just really important to remember that, these conditioners and any other kind of chemical treatment, like we were just talking about, you knew you were going to be doing this. You need to get these kind of supplies, whether you're going to be using them all the time. The last thing you want to do is be in a situation where you're removing these fish on an emergency basis and you don't have a conditioner, and now these fish are going through these very traumatic situations that could have been resolved if you just had a tiny little bottle of very cheap chemical treatment sitting in your garage.
Yeah.
You know, we have it all.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be introducing new fish, feel free to give us a call. We can run over this list. We can make sure that you have the things that you need. And it really will be an enjoyable experience that you can sit back and have a lot of fun with, as long as you know these tiny little pitfalls, and you can really avoid causing a lot of discomfort.
Yeah, just baby steps.
Yeah, it's just an easy way to make sure that this awesome experience of putting new fish into your pond, which should be the highlight of your day, doesn't turn into a problem.
Yeah.
Until next time, take care and enjoy your pond.